Gravel by California here, again in the Sierra National Forest, where this time we're going to take on the Patterson Bluff Loop. Now, I was here a few years ago on a road bike wanting to ride this area as we came across Dinkey Creek, and seeing all the dirt roads, now I have two dreams realized. Little difference today is that there's no water out here, so that's going to be a factor because where am I going to get my Avion? Let's roll. It's hard to believe my first trip cycling the west side of the Sierra was in 2018, but 2020's creek fire impacted the area, burning for over 3 months, even factoring in when I was in Mammoth, although Dinkey Creek was spared. Joe has posted a number of great videos in the area, so he put together this 42-mile loop with playful flow that becomes more noteworthy as you go. With Joe leading us out, we started on McKinley Grove Road, parking right by Dinkey Creek, joined by Monty for the duration, and Rappo for the first few miles. Immediately we found ourselves back on Dinkey Creek Road, which is the main thoroughfare you take driving in. But your time alongside this yellow line would be short-lived, ducking deeper into the trees. It never hurts to reaffirm we were in the Sierra National Forest, taking the outer loop of Ross Crossing Road, which adds a couple of miles of steady riding, but is a good paved warm-up to get the blood flowing. Although it's extremely quiet, you'll notice the presence of Power Company Edison along the way, explaining why all the side roads aren't dirt. But if it takes you until mile 3 to overthink it, this left hook of a turn is a proper response over what serves as the Dinkey Mountain Cutoff. While you can already categorize this ride as fun, hitting the dirt felt like we were leveling up, and seeing the maintenance gave me confidence in the ride to take whatever the surface was giving me, along with some early teases of the surrounding landscape. But this stretch was less than a couple of miles, returning us back to the paved portion of Ross Crossing. Rappo headed back, leaving the three of us handling the road devolving into multi-surface, with everyone taking turns leading up front, keeping the pace universally efficient. But our fortunes started to change past mile 7 for our longest off-road descent of the day, losing 1,500 feet in under 7 miles, with a short let up in the middle. And I'm not just talking the random livestock you'll encounter, but for some well-timed views. As with this crew, I felt comfortable touching the brakes less than normal. Bridges in these parts normally mean your descent is nadering out, but also the presence of water, which in this case reacquainted us with Dinkey Creek, setting us off with some parabola profiling, leading into a climb over 3,000 feet in 13 miles. But there was a strong case to do this loop counterclockwise, as the ascent was far more open to views, making it more palatable to slip into distraction. And while the numbers sound intimidating, the slope stays near its 4% average most of the way, meaning as long as you're properly hydrated, you'll fall into a pretty good rhythm. While it was green in the middle of summer, it may not be the right time for KOM hunting. Not really because of the occasional motorcycle, but blockage from these mobile milk sources, bringing our ride to a halt until some emerging bovines from the trees force our hand upward. But be aware of these herds as they get sent to this elevation from the valley as temps heat up. Returning to the open road, The surface started to get a little chunkier, but still not much of a factor riding 42s, and taking a worthy diversion off of Ross Crossing for a little side road that doesn't show up on the maps. And I had no idea where we were headed, but I had faith in Joe's explorations, as it soon became evident of our purpose, taking in this expanse above the Patterson Bluffs, which you will spend some time absorbing. And while it's unique riding in the zone where the granite starts to punctuate, Joe pointed out these ancient holes that the Monache used as grinding rocks to produce food. We were able to successfully navigate our way out, continuing up on Ross Crossing. And if you're a glass half full person, then you would say we were halfway done with this climb. But once again, I would like to note how remarkably steady this ascent was, still feeling chipper as we crossed over 7,000 feet above sea level, noticing more trees vacating at this elevation, which means allotting more time to take it in, but hitting the peak is a bit subdued, being flanked by the trees, but at least led to 5 miles of dirt left, and although it was the choppiest section of the day, it was still a downward dash we were ready to welcome. With another opportunity to reaffirm my earlier posit, it was time to cross water again, and thankful for this bridge to do so, this time introducing ourselves to Deer Creek, which we were happy to see flowing this time of the year. We had only a short bit of dirt left, with just a third of a mile of climbing, making our way onto McKinley Grove Road, thankful for the signs giving us direction. But after all the up and down, I was unclear with 10 miles left which direction we'd be trending in the Z-axis, but you could figure it out with us pressing these speeds. 3 miles into the pavement, you're going to look to turn off, as it's worth taking a moment visiting McKinley Grove, where you'll stop and marvel at the neck-stretching height of these giant sequoias.
Dude, this is really cool, the fact you can get so much closer. But not in the Z direction.
Leaving the grove transitioned us from pedestrian pace to pushing at pace with a purpose, as we fortunately continued this downhill trend. And it's experiences like these that don't make me think of gravel as dirt bikes, but more all-road, where you can push the G's on any surface. Even though we were back to the start, we took one more sojourn for a slight off-road diversion, you'll say I do to, as we were married to the idea of this crossing, making it over this truss bridge built in the 1930s. That's a serene way of viewing Dinkey Creek. And while I was tempted to quench my thirst here, the Dinkey Creek Inn was just past ready to oblige. But we were close enough to the start to return back, where we had liquid rewards waiting of our own.
I don't know what I did right, but this was a fantastic ride. This region just has so much great gravel and off-roading, let alone the granite just helps open up the views. I tell you, if Gravel Bike California Industries ever decides to open a gravel camp, this would be the place. Anyways, Joe is a fantastic guide, and yeah, I'm roaring to come back here. If you want to find other great gravel guides, go ahead, this little subscribe button here, or go ahead and help support us by either supporting us on Patreon or to our GVC shop, so we can bring you more from the state of dirt.